where did it all go wrong for Arsenal? What specifically went wrong for Arsenal for them to have capitulated like they did? And two, what did they need to add in the summer to go again?
I feel we didn't have across the whole league season is 16 ready usable players to come into the first 11. We need that 16, 17 to compete with City. You can't have 13 and another guy like, and say you play a guy like Fabio Vieira, who can have a good performance one day and a bad performance another day, not have impacts this day. I felt if you have 16 players to go, that's where you can go with City. I feel across the season, an individual game, anyone can make a mistake. But really, where it really showed is where when you miss Jesus for 4 months, and Keta can play well for a bit, but not all those 4 months. Trossard can come in and do well for a bit, but not across the whole time. I just feel like, and also with the defenders, like we lost a few players. Unless you need injury luck and 16 players ultimately. You need the full squads and injury luck, and yeah, that's what I feel. And to close the gap, needs about 5, 6 players. You need about 350 mil spending on top of what we have. And we need to have again 16 players to go through and be able to rotate comfortably. Because if you didn't play, the reason why we're still looking so tired now is because we went full throttle in the league and we didn't rotate at that team. We didn't rotate before Christmas. We didn't even have a left winger we trusted to behind Martinelli. We just got Trossard. We still had no one. We still have no one behind Saka now. We got no one behind. We just got someone behind Party. Imagine we didn't have no one behind Party. And look how tired he looks now. There's no one behind Odegaard we trust. There's no one behind Gabriel a little bit. There's no one really behind who else? Nketiah is good, but I think Nketiah is good. In fact, that's fine. But yeah, that's what I feel. I know it wasn't constructed well, but yeah.
I think you lot lost it in January because after Christmas you lot had 50 points. You was on pace to get 100 points, and then you spent all the transfer window chasing Mudryk. It seemed like you didn't have no plan B in place, and it was like you had to rush to try and get Trossard, and then you spent all the other time chasing Caicedo to the point where he didn't roll, and then you had to go get what's the name, Jorginho. That was the chance for Arsenal. This is the first time in 20 years that you are actually competing for the title. You just got 50 points. Everyone's saying, "Wow, Arsenal done fantastic." Now the onus is on Arsenal to keep that momentum up. This is do or die. This is the one chance we can to get the title. If we have to spend 200 million in this transfer window, we have to do it. But you went for Trossard, who was 20 million, Jorginho 12 million, 32 million in that window. You should have been at least 150 million in that window. If you were serious, because everyone said during that time, if injuries happen to their key players, what are they going to do? Everyone said that was a question. What are Arsenal going to do if, say, for example, Jesus gets injured or Trossard or Saka gets injured or one of your defenders gets injured? You haven't got the cover. But you didn't address that for me. And then when it happened, you were stuck. Jesus was out for months. You had to rely on Eddie Nketiah. You still won. But then when Martinelli's gone out, Trossard has been playing. He's been on up. He's been up. And then Saliba went out. You didn't have the adequate cover for Saliba. Zinchenko went out. Tierney should have been a cover, but the manager doesn't trust Tierney for some reason. And then Tomiyasu went out. You ain't got right back to cover Tomiyasu. That was when I think you lot blew it because you lot rested on your laurels.
But I've all the people we can't buy for every position in January, and ultimately when you go for the league, you need luck with injuries. You just need luck.
You can't buy for every position, but you could have. You do need luck, but you could have spent more money in that window. You could have bought more than 2 players. If you're saying your squad isn't strong enough and you needed a squad of more than 14 players or whatever, you knew the areas where you were lacking in squad depth or lacking in strength. Because right back, Ben White is a centre back by a trade, but he was made to play right back because Tomiyasu went out. you could have brought in another right back to cover that hole. Because left back, you could say we've got Zinchenko, we've got Tierney, that's covered. Up front, when Jesus went out, you had to then rely on Nketiah. What if he got injured? You had no one there. Nketiah's
Yeah.
still a youth product. Trossard came in from Martinelli, cool. But then in midfielder, you had Jorginho coming. I think you lot could have done more in the window in January. I would have just gone absolutely ham. It would have been do or die. And then if you didn't do it, you still got good players for the next season.
Yeah. I think it's easier to say in hindsight. In principle, in reality, when you want to get your plan B and your plan C options, you might be stuck with those kind of players that you don't really want. Like now, if you got a replacement, if you didn't get Caicedo, we went for plan B, who might be 25 years old. We will get no chance of getting Caicedo now. We do have a chance now if we spend the money. And I think long term we better for it. Mudryk, boy. Will Mudryk even how many points will Mudryk win us?
I'm saying it seemed like your plan Bs, you lot didn't really have a plan B till you were made to have a plan B. Because it seemed like you're chasing Mudryk, but you didn't think, oh, what if he doesn't come to us? That reality didn't pop into Arsenal's head until it was too late. And it's like, oh crap, who can we get in? And luckily Trossard is B from Brighton. And then you spent all the other time chasing Caicedo. You didn't have a plan B in place. And he went and got Jorginho. He's been a good player, to be honest, so you can't really... But I think you could have done more in the transfer window in January to compete. I felt like you lot are more than happy to come out of the cup tournaments and ride it out for the league. You underestimated the league.
Underestimate
in terms of because you left all the cup competitions and you thought, we ain't got no more midweek games. We should be fine with the squad we have. The league is too tough. Look at Saka. Yeah. He looked like he was dying the last 3 weeks. Saka's been terrible. He's been terrible.
Yeah.
Ødegaard last couple of games has been poor. Partey's fallen off a cliff. And these have been your 3 most instrumental players. They've all capitulated towards the end.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. I feel we could have rotated, but clearly Mikel doesn't trust those players. Like he didn't trust Jorginho early enough. He didn't trust who's gonna play behind Saka? I don't know, Reece Nelson. But would you trust Reece Nelson week to week?
I mean, Reece Nelson's every time he's come on, he's done a good job for you lot.
He comes on from the left, it looks lively. But from the right, he's not right winger.
I mean, whenever he's come on against Man United, he did his thing.
Yeah, Reece is a decent player. He's a good player. But again, the fact that you're saying that we didn't do enough in January proves the point that we generally didn't have enough, regardless from the start of the season up until now. So, and I'm okay with that, and it's all right. The reason why you go through this is because you expect to build upon this. So, we'll see.
Also, they had a very good season. Like all jokes said, they bottled it, but they had a very good season. They finished 8th before 5th, and now 2nd. So the thing with Arsenal seems like every time they accuse of bottling, they come back the season after and do a little bit better. Remember last year we accused them of bottling top 4, came back this season 2nd. Mm-hmm. We've accused them of bottling the league. So what are they going to do next season? So it's interesting to see.
We ain't winning the league next.
But it happened back in like the 90s. You lot bottled the league to United, came back and went invincibles.
United and City, different kettle of fish. I think next season going forward, people, even if we get all the transfer targets that we want, people are going to try to start saying we need to win the league next year. You don't need to win the league next year. We just need to solidify. We need to be a top club. Solidify that first. Because remember when Liverpool had a great season, they got 4th, then they got 2nd, Like that's what our aim should be. We need to solidify ourselves in, I'll say, the first 3 places. Just solidify that and then go again.
To be honest, I think it's difficult because at the beginning of the season, I'm sure even Arsenal fans weren't expecting them to be in a title race like this. So you can't really say expect this or that. You just have to see how it pans out and be as good as possible and address the needs in your squad that needs to be addressed. And then if the opportunity for a title comes up, then go for it.
Like
That's what happened this season.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what happened this season. A lot of teams got caught slipping. Chelsea, Liverpool, slipping.
And that's why I say we need to solidify ourselves, because we don't know what's going to happen next year.
But next year, you should know what's going to happen, because now you've got Champions League football, so the onus is on you to sign about 5-6 players, because you're playing Champions League football, and you know what your first 11 can do in the league. Your first 11 is good enough to compete for the title. So now you need to get 6 very, very good additions to fight on that Champions League front as well.
Exactly. But I was just saying, because if you look at Liverpool never expected to have a bad season. Looking back at it, you can kind of see why they had a bad season, because they played so many games last year. They sold one of their best players. They bought Nunez. There's a lot of change. Chelsea, no one expected them to be this bad. Spurs, no one expected them to be this bad. Who else is there? United kind of expected them, and Newcastle overachieved. So like, there's people gunning for our position, gunning for our status. So we need to just make sure we establish ourselves properly, like Liverpool did all them years ago.
You know, I think I want to take my what I said. I think in today's day and age, you have to have the mentality of winning the title if you're going to win it. You know, establishing yourself, but no one's gonna. That Leicester season is probably not gonna happen again. You need to have a mentality of winning. I say that because
it could have, but
I say that because it's true. I say that because,
go on. Sorry.
Because what was I gonna say? Oh, if you don't have a mentality of winning, and then you're in that position like Arsenal were, then it's like you don't know what to do, and then you crumble. But if you have that mentality of we're going to win the title, or we're going for the title, and you find yourself in that position, then because you've prepared for it, you've probably done things in the background to make sure that when you get to that moment, you know what to do and you're prepared.
I'm not saying the goal shouldn't be to win the title. What I'm saying is our expectation shouldn't be, as fans, put title. If you don't, people like, for example, if we finish third next year, that doesn't mean we had a bad season next year. That's not I'm trying. Like, third is not bad. We need to. Well, depends how you finish third. If you finish third like Newcastle and United points, if you finish third close to second and first, that's what I'm trying to say. We just need to make sure we're in the Champions League at least next year. Third at lowest, because Liverpool. Imagine Liverpool come back and you finish third behind Liverpool and City. That's not a bad season. That's not a bad season.
No,
that's not a bad season.
Anytime a team that was below you finishes above you, then you have to take a look at yourself.
Nah. Liverpool still got great players. They still got. If they add the right players this year, they can easily be better than us next. They can win the league next year easily.
You can't. You can't.
Wait. Liverpool can't win the league next year. Is that what you're trying to say?
They can, but I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
If a team leapfrogs you, you have to look at yourself. Like, how can the team finish? What did they do better than us? It's in some ways a failure on that team's part to allow a team to finish below them the season before and then finish above them the season after. You have to look at it as a failure.
Only in the case of Liverpool, I don't see it as a failure. If it's Tottenham now, I see it as a failure. If it's United, if it's Chelsea, but Liverpool, I don't. They got Mohamed Salah. They got ballers. If they get that midfield correct.
But look at the difference in points. Imagine that you cannot say you wouldn't be disappointed or it's a good season. Because how many points ahead are what?
Like 20-something points, yeah.
Yeah, so for them to do that and then to finish above you, that's unacceptable.